Never start.
All right, if we can start, and we have other discussions too, but my name is Steve Lee. I'm a senior planner, project planner for this project here at 22 Washington. If you're here, it's for the community meeting. This is the first community meeting. The project's in the early stage. They're going through technical design and technical review. Then this is the community meeting for the feedback. And then they have the environmental review before they get to public hearing process. This one will go through planning commissions, followed by the city council, for the final actions on the land use, and then a design review at the very end. So today's meeting is actually the developers hosted meeting. That means today they want your feedback on their design, their project, everything about it. Staff, city staff, myself, Tracy, Tam is also here. We're here to take notes and make sure the comments that they're receiving, questions they're receiving, they're going to be responsible to respond to that at some point, some way, maybe another community meeting or just contacting you guys. So we'll be over there, but keep your comments just directly to the developer so we can get their feedback on the project. So with that, I'll hand it over to Chris.
Already started talking to some of you, but welcome to everybody else. I'm Chris Enders with KRP Architects, and we're representing Capital Partners, who's the developer on this project. And we're excited to walk you through this. Here's our project, 22 Washington. So let's dive right in, kind of an aerial view, just to locate everybody. So we are located, everybody see my cursor? Yep, okay. So we're located on the corner of Newhall Street and Washington Street here. And a phenomenal location. I'm sure everybody obviously is well aware of this site. We're in about a half-mile radius of Santa Clara University, then about a mile to Valley Fair, and then pretty much direct access to 880 freeway here. Right. Quick overview of the project before we kind of get into the details here. We obviously know we're located in Santa Clara. We have roughly about 194,000 gross square feet for the project. That includes everything from parking to amenity to the units itself. And right now we're proposing 124 residential units, and that'll be a mix of studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. On average, we have about 800 square feet for the unit size, average unit size. We will be providing ground floor retail space right now. There will be roughly 2,900 square feet of amenity space. All parking will be provided on site. We'll definitely address all your questions on parking. And then right now we have roughly 13,000 square feet of kind of open area for dogs, amenity space, private, public areas throughout the project. So this is our ground floor plan, and as you can see, kind of just orient you, again, we have Newhall here and Washington Street here. So at the ground floor, we have about 3,000 square feet of commercial space that we talked about, and you have your main lobby entrance coming off of Washington Street. And then this is the trash room we were talking about here, located off of Newhall Street. The remainder of this is all parking, and we have a mix of kind of surface stalls where you just pull right in, pull right out. And then for the residents, we have stacker stalls where we have a car on top of each other to kind of get more parking in there. And then we also have all the commercial parking parked on site as well, all within the perimeter of the building here. Moving up 1 level, so this is our 2nd level. This is all once again parking, and this is just for the residents at this level. Well, we are fully parked on site, so there's no off-site parking for this project. And then the other part of the 2nd floor area here, just main circulation. You have your elevators, your stair cores, all that good stuff. And then some amenity space for the residents, and this will be private for the residents. And then on site on the 1st and 2nd floor, we have several locations for bike parking. We'll have EV bikes, regular bikes. We actually have about double the amount of bike parking that's required as of right now. All right. Now, this is the 3rd level, so this is the 1st level residential units. We call this the podium level, but the 2 levels of parking. And as you can see here, this is the breakdown. We have a mix of studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms. And they are wrapped around a center core right here that will be accessible to the residents that live here, and some amenity space. And then we kind of tuck the building back a little bit to provide some relief against this property line. And we have an outdoor deck space that will be screening with some landscaping and vegetation area here. Okay. Same thing, the 4th and the 5th floor are exactly the same. We have some amenity space in the middle here that will overlook the center private courtyard area. And then just your spare circulations throughout the building. And then the last level here, the sixth level, it's a total of 6 levels, 2 levels of parking, 4 levels of units. Same exact layout again, the only difference here is that the amenity space becomes a studio overlooking the center courtyard. And then you get to look down on the outdoor deck and this center courtyard area here. All right. So then kind of jumping into some landscaping here, we have a really unique opportunity with some original growth trees that are already out in sight here. These are full grown, they're gorgeous, and we plan to keep those right now, kind of screening this area. Somebody asked about a dog walk area, so we have that all back here. And we'll be allowing the residents to come down. We actually provided a dedicated stair and elevator, so residents can come down straight to this area, walk their dogs in the morning, and take care of everything on site here. And then just your back of house kind of landscaping for some exits. And then on the ground floor here, we'll have some really nice areas for bioswale, the treatment of water on site, and then an opportunity for residents and public to sit and eat outside in this retail component here, or drink, or whatever it ends up being. Now this is back up to kind of that podium level. This is the landscaping plan for the podium level. So as you can see, we have some pretty interesting opportunities here to have some outdoor seating areas, some water features, picnic tables, trees, vegetations. We're gonna have some overhead lights here. This will be a really gorgeous area for the residents to be able to kind of relax outside and not just live in their units. It's indoor, outdoor type of living. Same with this patio on this space here. Okay. Here are elevations, and so on this one, this is your view kind of looking towards or if you were standing on New Hall Street, looking at the building, you can see the parking access that we talked about. And then this is the ground floor retail area. We have a really nice color palette and mixture of materials here, from some really gorgeous stone material. Bless you. Some horizontal wood siding, and then different tonal textures and textural elements of stucco that will be integrated with the color paint on that. And as you can also see here, that we fully integrated the 2 levels of parking. So it doesn't just look like a boring parking garage that you see anywhere else. They're fully kind of tied into this ground floor area. Also with some more vegetation here. We also have integrated decorative wood balconies for each one of the units here. Same view. This is once again, this elevation here is on Washington Street. This is that main residential lobby we were talking about. So new residents or anybody who lives there comes into this area, goes up to the building. This is the other parking entrance along New Hall. And then also your ground floor retail here. This is that back view that we were talking about, where we had the area step back for the residents outdoor space, and these big kind of trees here that'll really make this area shaded, and I think a gorgeous place to hang out. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. And we have a section here just so you can help to visualize what we've been talking about. So 2 levels of parking for the residents in the commercial space, tucked in behind the commercial space, so you can see this volume is all kind of one box there. So everything from the street front looks integrated versus kind of having a piecemeal building. And then this is that podium level we were talking about here, with the outdoor amenity space on both sides, the outdoor deck and the amenity space here, and then 4 levels of units on each side. All right, the last couple things here, just some 3D rendering for you guys to see, and we can go back to these as your questions come up here, but I want to get through this just so you guys have enough time for questions. But you can see, once again, this is the view standing on the corner of New Hall and Washington, ground floor retail, your main lobby, units above, and then the ground floor here. This is a view on Washington, looking back towards the building with that step up. Okay. Last slide, questions. So just, I think for everybody, Steve introduced himself, but here's his contact information here. And then Tracy will also be helping out Steve on this project. So all of our information is there. And then this is myself, presenter from KRP. And this presentation will be provided after. So you guys will have to take pictures or write these down. You guys will have this. Feel free to reach out to us. We're here. Should we open up to questions, comments? Okay. I know we got a lot of them. Who wants to start? You look anxious.
Well, yeah, really, but normally Lounge is such an important community gathering place, particularly their neighbor.
Yeah.
And there isn't any other place equivalent to that. I mean, I'm glad you're taking interest in the property, it's great, so far, but, you know, you could think big and maybe think about something like a rooftop bar or restaurant. You know,
Sure.
I mean, it's just an idea.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is what this is for.
Yeah.
I'm not the smartest person in the world, nor even in this room, so providing all the ideas.
It would make it kind of unique, there's no rooftop bars around here, and the weather is unbelievable around here.
Sure.
I live right across the street from that, or Parker Park, so,
I've probably seen you in Normandy before.
yeah.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
How many homes is the second single story? Or maybe the two-story homes in the vicinity?
We have,
Can you repeat the question, please?
sure, the question was,
Okay, they need the mic, so, yeah, because they're actually giving questions.
oh, gotcha. Okay, pause 1 second, and then I'll repeat the question for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can do the mic, you can also, ask to. Hold your questions, we can hear the questions too.
I can repeat it if it's okay. So, I'll have to pass my phone. Does
Um,
that work?
Okay, so what we do is just ask your questions, Chris will repeat the questions, that way the folks online can hear it as well. This meeting is recorded and it will be posted on the project website, so you can watch it again. Chris, you wanna do that? And
Sure. So the question for everybody who couldn't hear was how many single family homes or 1 or 2 story homes would this impact as a result of the project? Good question. So along New Hall Street and Washington Street here, obviously those are public roads, so there's no single family homes there. And we have commercial on all sides around, this area here, so there's no impact of homes on that side.
Okay,
On the back side of this building is another commercial property. So there's only one area where we have some single family homes, and I want to say off the top of my head, I don't have the aerial view, 4 to 5 homes roughly around this area here. And that is part of the reason why we've set the building back, just so we weren't kind of impeding, with a boom, big building, right?
were
somebody's
they able
backyard.
to do, studies on, that they're not being shaded?
Correct, yeah, we have all that as part of our submittal to the city.
Okay.
And so there's a whole bunch of studies that look at it from winter solstice, summer solstice, and we do about 10 different kind of timelines. 10 or 12, I forget what it is, throughout the year. Good question.
I was wondering about the parking, you say it's 6 stories, the 2 stories or parking is underneath the building?
It is underneath, so actually, let's look at the second. So for the question, so for the online folks, the question was, where's the parking located? Is it below the building? So yes, it is below the building, but it is above grade, meaning that this, where it says first floor here is our ground floor. That's you and I are like, we're standing on this floor right here, then it goes 2 levels up, roughly 11 feet, 10 feet.
And the entrance for those is where?
Along New Hall and Washington, let's go back to the,
That's really busy street to try to get in and out. They're gonna be getting out of there this way?
so you can see these where we have the blue arrows. Correct, and so one of the ways that we laid this out with that understanding is that we wanted to take the entrances and exits for the parking garage and put them at the back end of the site here, as far away from the corner as possible, to allow, kind of traffic to keep moving versus to say we put them on the corner here, that would never work, So given the constraints of the physical side itself, we push the entrances and exits back as far as physically possible.
Is that the only exit or you have other exits?
Just those 2. Then you obviously have pedestrian exits where people can walk all along the back here, come out.
I was thinking of cars exit.
Just those 2. If we started to put a 3rd or a 4th or 5th, then you're kind of running out of street frontage to be able to do that. Because we can't exit through the single family homes back here or through the other commercial property.
Yeah, one of our issues is that there's apartments out on Washington now. And I don't know if they're only allowing 1 car or what, but they're starting to park all the way down our street.
Gotcha.
And it's getting to be a little nerve wracking because there's cars parked in front of, starting in, so far we've been lucky, they haven't reached our street.
Sure.
We're 1 block away from parking down there.
Yeah.
And so we're worried about that for one thing. And the other issue is they're using our street to get to Park Avenue
Okay.
as fast as they can, and it's a neighborhood where we have children.
Is the microphone not? Am I not?
Yeah,
Good job.
it's the folks in the back, that's
Sorry.
right, so you might hear it. If you can see that here, oh.
Yeah, well, it's saying.
Into the mic.
We have children in our street and they're cutting across from Park Avenue to get to Bascom, or they're going from Bascom to get to Park Avenue. Now Park Avenue is so crowded at 5 o'clock, you can barely go down there. And even Washington streets are crowded too, so people are cutting in and out of there. And there's children on the street, their granddaughters there, I worry about them tearing through our neighborhood because they have nowhere to go.
Sure. It's a good comment, and I worry about the same things, both in the neighborhood I live in here. So what we've done so far, and I know other people will talk about this, we've tried to maximize the parking to the maximum level possible physically we fit on site. So currently, we meet all the code requirements, which is roughly 1.5 spaces per unit. I have an online question, we'll come back to them. Thank you, Rosemary. Everything right now, including commercial and residential, is parked on the site. Obviously, we can never guarantee that some residents, won't park across the street, but we've given them ample space on site to be able to park.
I have one more question.
Sure.
So 2 years ago, we had a neighborhood electrician. He put up cameras on our street. This was a couple years ago. We counted 120 cars speeding down our street 2 years ago. Would you be helpful if you could speed bumps or more stop signs on Pedrodale?
Yeah, absolutely. And so what happens with this is currently right now we're running a as part of our overall environmental review where we look at everything from sunlight to noise to traffic mitigation. We have a separate consultant, Hexagon, who works, they're hired by the city of Santa Clara as put the overall thing. They are going to determine the impact based off of this new development compared to the old development, how we impact the neighborhood around, and that goes out for, I forget how many miles. So from that, we'll say, hey, we added 100 new trips, 50 new trips, whatever the number is, the study's still going, so I don't have the answers for you. Then proposed solutions will come from that, and that can be a potential measure as part of the conditions of approval at the end of our approval process. So it is something that potentially, yes, that, the developer or the city, we can work with them to do that as part of it's called offsite improvement.
Just 2 more quick.
Sure, no, please take your time.
How far back from the street it starts?
As far as the building, along U-Haul here, we have a 15-foot setback, and sorry, this number is wrong, and then 10 feet or 15 feet here.
My last question is, if you're just looking at 1 square footprint, how many square feet is that?
Ooh, Mayor, let's do some quick math. We were at roughly 192,000. $32,000 square feet roughly. And that's including the parking and circulation, everything. And the total site itself is 1.24 acres.
How many?
Hold on, let's see
One second.
if she's finished.
Oh, that's all right, I'll get it.
How many units, what is the price range on the units being sold?
We don't, they're gonna be rental as of this time. They may be sold, but that will be a decision with the developer and the city way down the line. But at this time, we're looking at rental units and potentially doing some teacher housing, all still up in the air. The price will be determined way down the line.
Okay, but what are the rents gonna be?
We don't know yet, that's what I said, yeah. It, in line with market rate rents, if it's market rate, as part of this, we will be doing affordable housing as well, so we'll have 15 to 20% of the units, it will be affordable. And those are dictated by the AMI levels in the area, which are a percentage of market rate rent.
All right.
Will Santa Clara University students be rented?
Potentially, we don't know yet, we've been talking to the university, we would love to, but we don't know, very early.
Noise abatement?
Say that
What
again?
do we have for noise abatement with potential parties and stuff there?
Who would you be, so at that point, once it's in operation, that would be the property manager. And so it depends on, what's going on, who we lease to. It would be the same thing, obviously, college students party a little bit more than old people like me.
Right.
And
Well,
so,
not like us either. So, question, a couple questions. So now we're getting the brass tacks
sure,
with water, sewer, that type of thing. Who's responsible for that? Who's putting money up? Who's gonna be doing the utilities?
sure.
Who's paying for them?
So very good question. It's one of the things that we didn't talk about. Some of us started talking about at the beginning. See this line that's going right kind of down the middle of the site here? So as part of this project, we'll be doing what's called an annexation. We're gonna be, it sounds more gruesome than it is. We're gonna be taking land from the city of San Jose, which is this side. And we'll be annexing it in or giving it to the city of Santa Clara, which is on this side of that property line. So the short answer to your question, all the utilities will be coming from the Santa Clara side. So, and they all are already existing along this side here, and that's why we've been approaching Santa Clara to begin with. And as part of that, we're gonna be doing a whole bunch of hydraulic studies, utility studies, everything to see if we need to upsize pipes, downsize, internet, all.
Again, who's paying for it?
The development would be as part of the project.
So you talked about traffic, so 1.5 cars per unit, is that correct?
Roughly, yeah.
Roughly, and that's counting the commercial space, is that correct?
Commercial separate, it's 3 per thousand, if I remember correctly.
So how do you control, again, to your question? You're adding times how many cars, where are they gonna go? Street parking?
There's no street parking, everything is contained on site.
Well, you're saying there's no street parking, but they're still gonna park on our street.
Well, keep in mind, they cannot physically park on Washington or New Hall here.
Well, we're right across the street from that, so they're gonna park on our street.
Yeah, like I said, they're already down a block away from us.
Okay, so across the street here, we have the Mary Martin, another commercial building, and we have Robbie or gas station. Those are all commercial uses. I cannot guarantee, to your point, I would love to put up a big sign saying everybody has to park here, no questions asked or going to jail. We can't do that. The best that we can do is provide enough parking on site to encourage them to do that. And hopefully design it well enough that it's just so simple that they can pull right in.
What you're not doing,
Okay, talk to me about some ideas that you have.
It's not enough parking, how about that?
Okay,
It's not enough parking at all.
what level of parking would you like to see?
I'd like to see at least 2, maybe 2.5 cars per unit.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not working. If you go around here and look at all these places that were built, there's not enough parking anywhere.
I know, but you cannot mandate, I'm sorry.
go
You
ahead, please.
cannot
This
mandate,
is a good conversation.
you cannot mandate parking anymore for the state. Not for the cities, but for the state.
What about for the building that he's building? You can't mandate parking.
You cannot mandate, if he wanted to build that building. and
But I'm
he wanted
saying
to
that's
build
what I
it,
would like to
and he
see.
wanted to
I'm
build
not
it,
mandating. We're just.
Yeah, understood, absolutely. Both of you are correct on this, and so yes, there are new state laws that have come out that say that you don't have to have parking anymore. We've obviously chosen that would be the best thing for the neighborhood. And so we're kind of in that middle here. I have your note down 2 to 2.5 spaces per unit, and we will go and study and see if that's feasible. Absolutely.
So no subterranean parking at all, I noticed that. So
Correct.
why is that not, I know it's expensive, I know subterranean is
Sure.
very expensive. But the question is, why are we not doing subterranean?
The 2 short answers to that. One, we, with the current design, we meet kind of the city codes that we don't necessarily have to meet, but we wanted to meet. And then the other one, to your exact point, is the second you go underground, the cost per stall goes 2 to 3 times more expensive. And then the project stops on delivery, meaning that you can't afford to build it anymore. Good question. What else?
Also.
Oh, sorry,
Go ahead.
let me get this gentleman back here.
I have a couple of questions, some of these might be for the city. You mentioned that it's gonna get annexed, or you're proposing annexation to the city of Santa Clara. The adjacent commercial to the south is within the city of San Jose. And has any thought been given to annex to San Jose and looking at a master project that would include the other commercial site?
Sure.
Again, is it maybe this is a question for the city, is it a foregone conclusion that this has to get annexed to Santa Clara, or could it be annexed to San Jose?
I'm not gonna say that we're too far down the road for that, but I'll say, so when we, our first, when we first started this project a year ago, plus or minus, we had a meeting with both the city of Santa Clara and the city of San Jose. And we determined that it would be better, annexed to the city of Santa Clara, based off of the current utility locations. And just the desire for Santa Clara to kind of have this on their side. There was some meetings with LAFCO, who is the organization that's separate from the 2 cities, that does the property lines. And they felt that it would be cleaner to bring this to Santa Clara. So yes, we have had a lot of conversations about it. This is where we're at right now. It may evolve.
Okay, thank you. As far as traffic improvements, and I do think that your traffic engineers are gonna need to look at that very closely, because the ingress and egress out of there is gonna be very challenging. But I would love to see the city, and the development do more bike improvements at that location. Right now, there's a bike lane that starts on the east side of, Washington Street, but when you go back onto, Newhall, going west, there is no bike lane. The travel lanes are misaligned, the center line's not aligned at that intersection. There's a lot of challenges with biking through there, and if you're gonna have a low parking ratio, and the expectation is that people are gonna either walk or bike to Santa Clara University or the train station, I think you really need to think through what types of improvements you could put in and make that a little bit more bike friendly. So
Absolutely.
that's something that I would love to see the city ask you guys to do.
And we'll work with the city as this evolves for those exact things, that's what we're talking about, the offsite improvements. So absolutely, that will be definitely part of the conversation.
And the last question is that I'm sympathetic to the parking. I live in the neighborhood, the San Jose neighborhood.
Okay,
Those streets are very narrow, Sunny Vista, Red Bush Terrace, I mean, they're really narrow streets. They're like a 30-foot curb to curb. And already people have to move over to get cars through. There will be overflow parking, you know, regardless of what you say about it's all parked on site, it's not parked on site. So the solution is not just more parking, the solution may be to reduce the number of units. Instead of going up 4 stories, if you drive around that neighborhood and you look at developments in Santa Clara, like on Monroe,
sure.
and even El Camino, which is even a more robust street, they're not putting in that kind of density. You're asking for a general plan amendment, you're asking for a zoning amendment to increase it to the highest density that you could possibly cram on that site.
Sure.
And I think you need to be a little more sensitive to the neighborhood and its location and maybe scale it down. I'm all for housing there, I think it's great, but I think you've been too robust with what your expected densities are. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, who else? Yeah, I'm Mike, so I live on St. Stuff fairly close to this too, and I'm very excited about the project for housing and stuff like that. I was very, also want to ask about the bicycle stuff, in particular on, like, there's Park and there's Monroe, both are pretty big bike conduits.
Okay,
We've seen, there used to be until very recently, a restaurant Park that has a Park Station Actually that had like a bunch of bikes, to big location for bicycles. I wonder with the commercial space, are you considering the bicycle, parking or storage of that in commercial space?
we do, so they're kind of like separate.
Yeah.
We have enough bike parking for the commercial and enough for the residential, and then they're combined. We actually end up having more, way more than we need for it. And so we'll have a mix of short-term bike parking and long-term bike parking for both the commercial and the residential. Meaning the short-term is a bike rack outside, you chain it up. The long-term will be a locked box. You bring your padlock, put your bike in there. A lot of us have very expensive bikes here in the Bay Area, and a lot of people like to steal them too, so.
Yeah, of course, those lock boxes are great, especially if it's like long term. And for the parking for the commercial space, I mean, is there going to be any EV stalls for that?
Yeah, actually, so almost 100% of our stalls are EV ready or EV. So Santa Clara, there's essentially kind of like 3 levels of requirements for this. You have California Building Code, then the Green Building Code, and then City of Santa Clara kind of supersedes both of those. They have their own what's called a reach code, so it's above and beyond that. So as a result, everything that you see here, that's why we have these color coded in green. This is the ground floor, and then the second floor. These are 100% EV. So literally every single stall we have will have an EV charger, or we'll have the conduit there, and be 100% ready to go.
Including the commercial parking.
Correct, exactly.
And
Excuse me.
both Newhall and Washington currently have sidewalks along that land. Is that, are those going to be maintained or those go away?
Sidewalks are maintained, we're actually enlarging them as well, and we're working with the city on that, so I believe currently they're 5 feet wide and we're enlarging them to 10 feet wide.
And there was some question about parking. Cutting corner to this lot, there's another commercial lot, great restaurant, a few other places. Behind that, there's a relatively large underutilized parking lot.
Okay.
I don't know if it's possible to consider that as something that you can make a
agreement with for overflow parking, but that would actually really help.
Sure.
Getting off the road.
I mean, it's a good idea, and if that would be something we'd have to explore, so we'd have to reach out to that property owner, see if they're even willing to, you know, they may not be, who knows, but that's a good idea.
And I think you were asking about this a little bit with the annexation question, but was there discussion early on that growing this project to include the stuff, the retail to the south as well? That's in the same kind of block.
Can you say that one more time? I was writing the note down.
No, I'm sorry, yeah. Was there a discussion early on of extending this to the south lot? where-
Page south down here.
Yeah, with some additional retail there between that and Duncan?
There, I mean, absolutely, the group that owns this site wasn't interested in selling at that time.
Okay.
And so if that does become available, can't guarantee that, you know, our client would like to do that, but. I think that'd be a really nice corner, then it starts to, you know, work in with different exit points and things of that nature.
Cool, those are my questions, thank you very much.
Absolutely, thank you.
I'm Seth James, council member for this district. Did you guys consider like mechanical parking to expand the amount of parking, like puzzle parking, those kinds of things? And then the other comment that I have is that annexing it to the city of Santa Clara, our electricity is 60% below San Jose. So it's a huge benefit to the residents that it got annexed to the Santa Clara.
Sure, and I think that's a good thing. You know, everybody wants cheaper power, but to your first question, yes, we do have a puzzle stacker system. So all these stalls that are shown here with this kind of dash E sign, those are all gonna be a puzzle stacker system, so we're putting cars on top of each other to increase the parking. The reason why the rest of these are not is because they are commercial spaces and you can't expect somebody who's just going to a retail store to go into a puzzle stacker. That's just not, that doesn't work. But yeah, anywhere we can put a puzzle stacker, we have.
Oh, very good, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. What else? And Rosemary, I see you on the line, we'll get to you here in a little bit.
The other question I had was, are you guys have your,
Can you-
you have your eye on the Marymount, which is kitty corner? Are they planning to build the same type of thing there?
As of right now, no, it could be that's a completely separate site that we don't have control over, and so it all just depends. That site was developed originally way back in, I think, the eighties by the same developer. You had fifties, sorry, thank you.
You're way up.
All I know is I used to buy my uniform there every year, so that's about all I got. The fifties, that was at that time developed by the same developer. They have since parceled it off over the years and they're separate sites.
So my last question, it's not a question, I just want clarification. So when I lived on Monroe Street, I wanted to clarify to people, 1.5 parking spaces is quite a bit.
Sure.
In today's world.
Yeah.
When I lived on Monroe, I lived catty corner from the senior center. And I never had space in front of my house, never.
Yeah.
Streets belong to the public, so we cannot control parks and just park unless it's mandated by the city that it's.
Sure. I mean, the best that we try to do is control what we can on our site and do it, you know, the best of our ability on it. It's never perfect, obviously, but.
Would you consider having another
And you
level?
use the.
Would you consider having another level of parking, so the 2 levels, 3 levels, so that would.
I would have-
Right there.
I would have to check the code if that's physically possible.
It would make it so much.
Well, it comes down to a code requirement, so at this point, we get past the planning level, which we're in right now, we get into the building, so getting your building permit. So there are certain code requirements, and I don't know off the top of my head if that's allowed, it might be. Meaning where you have, it's called type 1 construction, you go up 3 levels, then you have that podium, and then the wood level above it. I have to see, I don't know, off the top of my head. And the reason I don't know is because a lot of people don't typically do that, it might be possible, it might not.
When they do Valley Fair, some of the streets that were residential, they closed off so that you could only go in, but you couldn't go out, or the opposite. I mean, if you did that, they live in San Jose, Heather, I live in Santa Clara. You know, I think you should consider do that also, so there's not traffic that's coming from Bascom Avenue and cutting through to Park Avenue.
Okay,
So right now, we get people cutting through to meet the light,
yeah,
and they go zooming down our street, and then they skip the light.
okay. I get you, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, what else?
Take questions online.
Okay. Okay.
So. All right, we have Rosemary, you're online, you can unmute yourself and talk.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, how's it going, Rosemary?
I'm well, thank you. I'm trying to keep up with this all. I just, as you saw in my last comment there, if you're gonna offer a meeting online, you should be sensitive to those at home that can't really hear people speaking through masks and it's really distorted. So I would suggest you do a better approach if you're wanting to offer this to people that weren't able to make it there by 5:30, because it was very difficult to hear the questions. The questions were not repeated. And quite frankly, half of what all of you in the room with all your wonderful questions was very difficult to hear for those of us listening in online. Just feedback for future meetings on this, and I'm sure there will be many future meetings, which I look forward to attending.
Great.
And also the rate of speech was just, I mean, you just blew through that presentation. Is this the first time people are hearing about this? There was kind of, I felt like there was an assumption people have heard this already. It just like you blew through what the concept of was. And I'm like, wow, very difficult to keep up. Am I the only one feeling that?
No, apologies about that. I tried to go through it a little faster because I wanted to leave enough time for questions, and that's on me. So apologies for that. This is the first time that everybody is seeing this project, and they've been notified, same as you, through the flyer that went out a couple weeks ago. So this is our first community meeting, and we'll be having many more after this.
Okay, good to know. And I straddle that neighborhood. I lived on Cherrystone for many, many years and was recently a renter back there on Cherrystone. I've just, now I'm over near Bill's, just upgraded my home. So I'm familiar with both neighborhoods, and this neighborhood, this business district very much separate is the dividing line between both the Corey neighborhood and where I am. So I'm excited about this in some respects, but also, as many of us are, a little apprehensive about just like, this is what we're doing, and, you know, good luck, neighbors. This is what we're doing. That's kind of how I heard the presentation. Again, I don't even know who your name is because you blew through it so quickly. So it's kind of like the delivery is like, this is what we're doing, and, you know, good luck to everybody. So that's how I received this. So I just want to give you that feedback on terms of how the delivery is. There were some excellent questions from those in the room, and I look forward to hearing if any others are online to share their questions. But again, my feedback is it was very quickly presented, very difficult to hear back at home. And in fact, which council members in the audience? I couldn't even determine who that is. That Council Member James?
Yes.
Okay, good. I heard Mulcahy, so I'm sorry. I wasn't sure if San Jose was being represented or Santa Clara. So thank you. I'm glad Councilmember James is there, because quite frankly, I was a little confused as to which council district was being represented. So anyway, just I echo a lot of the questions some of the residents in the room have. I'm really concerned about the parking, the overflow, the very small percentage of parking per unit available. I know I walk that neighborhood all the time, and the streets are so tight, and it's hard, even that little, what's that street that backs up? Anyway, there's a street there, like it's almost like a one-way street. When one car is coming at you, you can't, there's no way you can add more parking in that area, because it's just, you can barely get up and down that street right now as it is. I forget which street it is, anyway, it's, I'm sorry, which one?
The residents here say Heatherdale.
Yes, thank you very much. It's really bad. So, and you know, the fact and how many homes are being potentially impacted back there on, is it Red Bush Terrace? So just, I feel like there's could be a little bit more thought being put into the perspective of the neighborhood versus this piece of land that you're developing. And, you know, it's just kind of like, yeah, this is what we're doing. And, you know, good luck to the rest of you that have been basically poured your heart, soul, and, you know, your investments, your financial investments into this neighborhood. So I just want to make sure that the neighbors are being heard and respected, and that the development is being built and developed in relation to what's acceptable in order to coexist in this beautiful neighborhood that I've lived in for over 3 decades. So thank you for your, and again, just be considerate when delivering this. This is the first time people are hearing this. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And again, I'm in PR. You might not, because I'm very direct. I'm in PR, but just be a little bit more thoughtful in the delivery for both those in the audience, both here in person and at home, and how we're receiving this information.
Absolutely, and I think that's a great comment, thank you for that. If you can see the screen right now, in case I glossed over too quickly, so my name is Chris Enders, I'm the one on the right of the screen. This is my contact information, please, I'm happy to talk to you one-on-one, give me a call or shoot me an email. And this presentation will also be shared after by the city of Santa Clara. So this will be a long ongoing process, and this is step 1 of many of the community engagement. So you will have plenty of time to talk to myself and everybody.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
We have one more online.
Okay.
Kathy Kelsey, you're allowed to speak now. Just unmute yourself to speak, please.
Hi, this is Mark Kelsey. My wife Kathy is with me right here. I want to echo the comments of the last speaker. The presentation presumes that we have already had access to this information and know what's happening. And I don't think you're doing a service to yourselves or your clients in presenting the information so quickly and in such an offhand, as the last speaker said, you're presenting it as if this is what we're doing. Get used to it and you know, live with it. And I think further, as several other speakers have said, you're significantly overdeveloping this particular site. I don't know if you have driven through the traffic in the morning, in the afternoon, at noontime, on Washington, on Newhall. This is right adjacent to the entrance to Highway 17 and the exit from Highway 17. So there is a significant amount of traffic already. There are multiple near collisions every day in this intersection. So part of my question is, are you willing to spend what it takes to improve the intersection and the surrounding streets and to block off the surrounding streets from traffic cutting through in order to accommodate this extremely large project that you're proposing?
We'll have to see and work through that with the city to see kind of what improvements need to be done. And that'll, as I was mentioning earlier, maybe I glossed over too quickly, there is a third-party consultant that is doing a traffic analysis as we speak. And so as part of that, there will be recommended offsite improvements that we will work with the city to determine what needs to be done there.
Say so.
You might want to finish.
Sorry, I'll come back to you. Good.
Oh, check if Mark is done.
Mark, any more questions or comments?
Yes, I would like to make a further comment, which is, I would like can you outline your proposed community engagement process and the city approval process? I have to say I'm somewhat skeptical of your traffic consultant and your community engagement because Capital Partners, which is developing the project near Safeway on Park Avenue, has not engaged the community and has held only one community meeting and did not follow up with any additional community meetings. So I hope that you can improve on that track record.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And Steve Lee, who's our planner on this, him and I were discussing that actually before we opened up the meeting to the public, but This is the first meeting, and we're planning on kind of getting all the comments back in now, and then we'll be responding to them. And more than likely, we'll have at least one more community meeting, but at a minimum, all these comments, Steve has started sending them to me. I will be kind of doing one-on-ones or answering comments, emails and everything, or calls to individual community members as they come in. So this isn't the first time, unfortunately for you guys, that you will see me. Anything else, Mark?
Can you address the approval process? Will this go to planning
Sorry.
commission for review?
Yes, it will. So this is, we have started the approval process by submitting the drawings to the city of Santa Clara, and that's called the PCC process, Project Control Committee or something to that effect. In that part of the process, there will be multiple rounds of plan check comments that involve everything from parking, building heights, setbacks, the aesthetics, traffic, all of the above. So that process has just been kicked off. We'll be doing this community meeting that we're part of right now. At the end, where the project is deemed complete through the PCC process, then we have a CEQA review, which is the California Environmental Quality Act. Once those steps, we get through the PCC and the CEQA review, then at that point, we go through a planning review and also a city council review before final approval. So, you know, we're still talking 6 to 8 months of, you know, review and comment period.
Thank you. That's helpful to know.
Absolutely. Is there any other online ones?
No, so we can go back.
For everybody online, we're going back to the people in house.
No, you answered my question.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Yes.
We do have a question on Q&A.
Oh, okay.
What will happen with the current tenants on the business and what timeline do you guys have to move out?
Sure, good question. So the current tenants we will work with to see, I'm looking at Steve, because he has a question. We will work to see if any of them want to come back, to what we are planning for the 3,000 square feet of retail space there. They would, it's not a guaranteed first right of refusal, but we would like whoever's there, Normandy as an example, come back here, an institution in the neighborhood. As far as timeline on that, let's say we go through this planning approval here and we get approved by Q1 of next year, and then to build the building, we'd have another 12 months of doing the construction drawings and getting our building permit. And then from there, you have to build the building, and that would take about 1.5 years. So you're talking about 2028 before those residents would kind of be, you know, kicked back out and move back in roughly. And that all depends on when things get going. Who else?
I just had an additional comment on the architecture and the site design. I don't live on Redwood Terrace behind I do not live behind the project, but I think that the deck on 20 feet up and then decks at the 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th, or 4th, 5th and 6th level overlooking the single family residential is going to be a problem. And as far as your design is concerned, I think you want to take a look at that. I don't think the architecture is very inspired. I've seen other Ken Rodriguez projects that are a lot more interesting and more creative. I'm not an architect, so I don't know how to articulate it, but I think it's pretty boring architecture. I mean, it does nothing architecturally to the neighborhood, especially the corner of Washington and Newhall. That corner has some opportunities perhaps to make that a little more interesting. So I really think you should work with the developer and push the architecture a little bit better, because this is going to be a real statement building in the neighborhood.
Okay, great.
I think the biggest problem is how it interfaces with the single family on the backside. I think that with the deck and the decks looking over there, I think that's a real problem.
We have those thoughts, and I agree with you on that. That's why we tried to ghost in these trees here. So these are roughly to scale the existing trees. And so what will happen is, you know, we've raised up this ground floor here, and then there'll be a fence that will be built in. So from the ground floor, you won't be able to see into any residents' backyards. And then up above here, you can kind of see these trees. Yes, you can see through a tree, but it helps to really block. And these are the existing trees we're trying to keep.
Why can't you just put that, you know, on the left side of the building rather than on the back side?
The view on, you mean on along here, let's go to the plan here. Are you saying take this, so here,
Yes, that's right.
here's our setback, you're saying put it along Newhall here?
The new hall or the other side, opposite. So they're looking out of the parking lot rather than into people's backyards.
If it was me living there, I would love to look at trees versus the street.
I can
personally.
put a tree in my backyard, then solve it. Yeah, I live below, two stories, and people like to, you know, they'll drop things and.
Sure.
The residents call it a yard or area,
Yeah, it's potential, absolutely, yeah.
for sure.
So you're not gonna write it down, so I guess it's not gonna go.
I will write it down for you. Okay, what else?
I have more online questions if you want to.
Sure.
Okay, just trying to filter them, some of them are already discussed, so, here's one, well, sorry, Santa Clara also includes, so there are two recent developments in Santa Clara also include commercial spaces on the ground floor, but they have had a hard time filling the spaces with renters and businesses. What will be done to ensure the business are attracted to this building?
Sure, so that's where we're gonna start off with the current existing tenant, we kind of started that process earlier. Try and see if we can get the existing tenants, example the Normandy, to sign a lease prior to the construction. It's not a guarantee, obviously, but we're gonna start that outreach, same as we do the community outreach, we do the commercial outreach as well.
Next. Short one, does the project include the Burger King property? That's- No.
No.
And all that is a good spot, yeah.
It's 1.25 acres, it's still pretty big.
Will you have these drawings available online?
Steve, does it get posted tonight? This presentation
Will be posted tomorrow.
tomorrow?
Have this posted and the recording. Is there another?
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Yes,
Because I know I look online, and you guys.
sure.
The drawings are online, but the presentations and the recording of tonight's meeting will be uploaded tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Do you have the URL for that?
The URL, do you have your website on your flyer? If not.
We don't have a project specific website, it's this presentation.
Okay, what you could do, I can go to the screen later and I can go to the website. And you can take a screenshot of that for the URL.
I also, if you want, come up after, I'll take your email and I can send it to you. Sure. If you need it by tonight, absolutely. It's no problem. Okay, other questions?
Question about construction.
Sure.
Are you gonna have a man lift or material wasting on this project?
For a 6-story, yes, I believe you're required to by code.
Okay, where are you gonna put it?
It's on site.
On the
Yeah.
sidewalk or?
No, so it essentially will take over one of the spaces, probably, I'm guessing, I'm not the contractor, but probably that stair core, they do the man lift, and then once they get to a certain height, they take it down and then build that stair back in its place. So it will not be out on Newhall or Washington.
Okay, so I'm good for material. So you're gonna basically the tower crane is gonna,
There's no tower crane,
you're not,
so
so how you gonna stop your shooting around?
they have the man lift that will take it up and, yeah,
Or where the truck, or where they're gonna get the truck, can they get their trucks in there?
it's like what you.
For, most of that stuff's gonna be 25 tons.
So they'll do on like days of deliveries and things of that nature, they'll do what's called an encroachment permit. And they'll schedule like from this hour to this hour, we're dropping off and then the lane gets opened back up. And the up to the general contractor, sometimes what they do on small sites is that they rent what's called a laydown area. And they'll do the deliveries kind of offsite and then do smaller kind of, small truck deliveries.
A lot more traffic.
It's, yeah. Sure.
Eli Willis, representative in Nortown Park, Michigan. So just, wanted to reach out to the developer, making sure that, there's a responsible contractor in place, that meets area standard wages, accredited apprenticeship standards, and provides healthcare for its workers.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
But we have access to the traffic in the plan.
Can I hear you?
You were.
Oh, so we're at the end of the Q and A, and I don't have any new questions I see out there. Again, this meeting is recorded. We do have time always at 7 if you want to hang around and ask questions. I don't see any questions online. Chris, up to you if you want to hang around or just end it and post the recording online.
I'm happy to stay around for anybody here in person to answer any more questions, and we can stop the online recording and go from there. Thank you, everybody, both online and in person. Really appreciate the time.